Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Castle Rock Season 1, Episode 3. It is called Local Colour. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. Now, of course, we are catching up because they put out 3 episodes at once last week. Episode 4 did go out today at the time of recording. We're going to be covering that tomorrow. So, we'll have hopefully have that up by end of tomorrow night, and we'll be up to date and going forward from there. But this is Episode 3. And this one focused a bit more on Molly. She got a lot more focus this time, seemingly confirming that she does indeed have some kind of psychic ability.
Yeah, I know. We thought empath, and she talks about it like it's empath. She says, "Oh, I feel feelings," but she seems to hear thoughts as well.
Yeah, like we given how she described it, I think we were right to think empath. But actually, hearing the sound effect, it's more like. But I don't necessarily think it's straight up thought silent. I don't think it's like, you know, Henry thinks of a number and she'll just say it. It feels like from the sound of it, it's more like all of the weight that you carry around. So for Henry specifically, it's all these people that he's failed to save. All these people that, you know, they've been on death row. Yeah. He's been the lawyer, and he's just carrying that baggage around with him. So that's what she hears. She hears all the stress from all of that constantly. So it's kind of like an empath in that it seems to be less the direct thoughts and more all of the different things that are weighing on the person's mind, but she hears it in the form of like actual audio, that, you know, blurbs.
Yeah.
At least that's how they're presenting it to us as the audience.
It's different. Usually empath is just, oh, you get a feeling, or, you know, they're angry, oh, I feel angry, right?
Yeah. I mean, the classic empath does seem to be kind of there to a point.
Does, yeah.
Because we open with the flashback to her as a kid, and we saw that she, you know, just kind of spied on him a little bit as a kid. But the big shocking thing here is that she actually wanders into his house. It's when Henry's been missing, he's still missing, but the dad's back. The dad's in the house. He's on a resuscitation, the respirator, and she comes in while the mom's sleeping and kills him. She takes out his respirator and watches him die. And as the episode went on, I was thinking back to this and just, you know, getting to see more of her powers, and we get to see the other flashbacks where she's with young Henry, and she tries to kind of tell him about, like, you know, I feel what you feel, and obviously it comes off as just kind of a weird, like, statement to him, like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? But we see that he hates his dad, and we see her watch him take him out of the car, and we also see hints that she kind of feels things at a distance as well. There's one point where he burns his finger, and like she kind of feels that in her house, which is kind of, that was the thing that confirmed to me that it's probably real, because all the other stuff, even though it feels fairly convincing that
you
we're
can
hearing,
just be perceptive.
Yes. Whereas this was like, no, there's no way she could fake that. She can't just imagine that he's burning his finger right now.
Yeah.
So
there was actually a point as well that I was questioning: is it a two-way street? Like, can she affect other people's emotions? Because there's a point where she clenches her fist, and then young Henry clenches his as well.
Yeah.
But he does it after, and I wasn't sure, was she just picking up on it before he did it?
Yeah, she was feeling it, and then she acted it out first, but he was already feeling it. Yeah.
Or did she did she like feel angry, clench her fist, and then he kind of sent that out, and then he kind of did it without realizing she was the cause?
I think that would be my assumption first, would be that she just picked up on it first, and then, you know, she sensed what he was feeling before he acted on it. But having her watch this, by the end of the episode, I was thinking, it's obviously, okay, she killed him, and it's like, was this just some weird obsession, you know? But it was actually making me think throughout the episode. I was like, okay, she can feel what he feels. So when he was out with the dad, missing with him, and now the dad's back, but whilst he was missing with the dad, could she feel what he was feeling? And if so, is that the motivation for what she does here? Like, could she feel how scared he was? Could she feel the pain that he was feeling? Let's say he was being abused in some way, out in the woods.
Yeah. I think it depends on the range of these powers, right? Because sure, she can feel him across the street, but at the distance that he clearly was, you know, when he was away.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, it could just be that she felt his hatred for him before they left, because she could clearly feel that. But like, I was thinking about it. Is that like, because I think right now she looks kind of. I mean, I don't want to outright say villainous because she's not like necessarily villainous in present day. But this, at the outset, this feels like this revelation that she killed his father in the flashback. Like that feels like a proper villainous act that's sort of lingering with her.
Yeah.
But part of me is wondering if the motivation for that was that she sensed from Henry's feelings what he was doing. Like he was doing something really bad. Did he take Henry out there to kill him or something like that? Did he take him out there for something else that was awful? And I think that may be where this goes. We might actually find out that no, his father did do something awful, and she knew this. She could feel it, and that's why she did come in and
possibly.
just to sort of end it. It was. I mean, your opinion on murdering someone even for a just cause, notwithstanding, at least the motivation would make a lot more sense. It'd be more sympathetic.
I think it's actually interesting for Henry's character, so given that he was a lawyer for death row inmates, right? And the idea that even if these people were wrong, and deserved to be punished, he still believed that they shouldn't be have the death penalty.
That's true, yeah. Which is a nice ideological difference if that's the case with her.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's
nice.
Interesting. And so we see that she's on this TV show. She mentioned that last episode, this local color TV show, to promote her plan. She's into real estate, and she wants to go and promote her plan. She's made a model of the town. We find out her and Jackie know each other fairly comfortably.
She's her intern.
Her intern, apparently. But so Jackie's there. I like Jackie being around, just kind of being the wisecracking. In fact, one of the moments that I laughed at a lot was when Molly goes on the TV show, and she's been through whatever. She's sitting there and she's like stalling and she's barely speaking, and it just cuts to Jack and she's like, "Uh-oh." Yeah, that cracked me up.
I like that. The other one that I really liked from her was when she's the house is a mess. We'll get to all that, and she starts cleaning. She goes, "Yeah, I can clean this a lot quicker if you hired me full time."
Yeah, no, Jackie's one of me. I mean, obviously we like Jane Levi a lot, so I guess she's got an advantage there. But
it helps.
But so far she's winning in terms of the quips. But she so Molly is doing this, and it's actually Henry's just reading the newspaper and he sees an ad for her, and he goes to see her intentionally, mainly for help to sell his mum's house, and obviously we're seeing this from her perspective, so we're hearing all these thoughts, and you quickly get, this is all the people that have died, this is all the people that he tried to save and couldn't, and that's where I got it's the baggage that people are carrying around with them, and she very awkwardly she pretends she doesn't recognise him, which we know is not true from the first episode, and it's very awkward. He feels that he's like, did I say something wrong? He thinks he's maybe offended her or something, and it's not that at all, but it's very awkward, and he leaves. And he ends up back at the police station later, of course, because he's there to look for the evidence from the crime scene of the suicide from Lacey, and the police aren't helping him, but he just happens to hear, the real estate princess is being dramatic or something like that, and he ends up, going in and bailing her out. But how does she end up there? She ends up there because after meeting Henry, her voices get so extreme that she needs more drugs, and she goes to her supplier, who I know where I recognise him from now. He was in Super Dark Times, a movie that came out last year. Okay. He was a teenager in that. I was bugging me from the first episode where I knew him from. That's what it was.
Okay, I haven't seen that, so it's fine.
But he's not got any left, so he sends it to someone named Derek. So she goes to this seedier part of town, and I'm like, where's this going? And I was actually genuinely surprised at the creepy little scene we got, where she walks into the building, and it's nothing but children, all wearing creepy masks, pretending to be
having a courtroom session.
Yeah, they're having courtroom, and Derek, the guy who's going to sell the drugs, he's like the judge, and there's a kid on trial for murder, and it's very creepy and surreal, and she's sitting and they force her to, and they all turn and point at her and say she's guilty, and we actually know she's guilty of murder. We saw that in the flashback, so it's personal, but it's the whole thing. But the police show up when she's trying to get the drugs, and that's how she ends up in jail. But to Henry's credit, because she tries to fob him off again, he jokingly says, "Oh yeah, it's like $700 for my time for helping you as a lawyer."
But you've talked me down to a breakfast.
Yeah, he's being nice. He's being friendly. He's trying to build a bridge. Be reminisce, so on. And then she kind of opens up and kind of admits everything. And clearly he doesn't necessarily believe everything she's telling him. We're not at that point yet.
I don't think so.
But he still tries to be nice because when she mentioned she was supposed to be in a TV show, because she's wearing this, her fancy blouse. She had a jacket because she was fighting with a prostitute, and I noticed that the prostitute was now wearing her jacket. I don't know if you caught that,
Yeah.
but and then her blouse is all ripped. But as soon as he hears this, he immediately goes over and gets a car and like drives her over immediately to the TV station. Like he goes out of his way to help.
Yeah, he does.
Which is actually kind of nice because I feel like as much as he's fighting for death row inmates and he's doing all these things, I feel like this small moment here where the way he just instantly turns and says, "Oh, what time is it now?" and then goes and gets the car and they get there in time. I feel like this is like a really nice little moment for his character to just make us like him a bit more. Like it was just like, no, this wasn't his cause or his job or anything. This was just.
I will say I did read it with an extra layer of like, hey, look, if you can't pay me, you don't want to spend time around me. You can get this message out. You can say this thing about this prisoner. Like that's part of the information I got, because obviously she blurts that out on the TV show, and so clearly he's asked her to. Unless she's picking up on that from the thoughts you think.
Yeah. She just picked up from that. I didn't get. He was surprised when she said that. In fact, one of my favorite parts of that is that he is surprised. Not my favorite part though is she's on the TV show and she's not saying anything. The interviewer's asking her questions, and then she drops an F-bomb, and then she's like, "Hey, this town is screwed up. Hey, just this past week, Shawshank Prison. This guy has been held there captive with no rights and blah." My favorite part of that is Warden Porter just in the bar seeing this, and what I love about it is that she has no idea who this woman is. She has no idea who Molly is, and she's just she's in the bar, she's just leaving, and she just catches someone just blurt this out on TV. She's trying to keep this hidden, hush hush.
Yeah,
that really made me laugh. It's easily the funniest moment
amusing.
of the show so far. That really cracked me up.
That was funny, yeah.
But no, I think she just picked up in that because I think he was surprised because even afterwards he said, "I'm not even sure how you knew so much about the case I was working," because at one point he was on the phone outside the dressing room like talking about it.
Yeah, I figured he told us some, and she'd picked up on extra details and gone more in depth. Maybe I just am reading into that too much.
Yeah, no, I never got the impression his intent was to get anything out of it, because I never thought that he did ask or anything. I thought she just did that.
See, I thought it didn't show us, so it would surprise us when she did that. Is what I thought they were doing, but your way makes just as much sense too.
Yeah, I think his reaction tells me that as well. But and I like the idea that maybe it's the first bit of peace she has in the episode, because it's like almost like actually taking the information she's getting from this power and using it to try and help is actually what will help make her feel better. Because it's also worth mentioning that her house gets broken into about halfway through, and Jackie's over cleaning up, like you mentioned, and they're joking. She goes downstairs to the basement to make sure all the stuff related to Henry's still there in the box and stuff. But when she gets back at the house at the end of the episode, it's been broken into again. Everything's wrecked again. And she hears a noise upstairs. She grabs a knife. It's a classic sort of horror movie-esque scene where she's creeping about with a knife, and she's stepping on the broken light bulb, and it's making it. And she's like, shit. And I was kind of waiting for something to pop out behind her, just kind of constantly the entire time.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I did like that it was because obviously the dream at the start ended with her like as an adult in a church, and Henry's father had bandages around his head like he did on the bed, and he's like saying, "Well, what gives you the right to like kill me, to kill one of God's children?" Blah blah. And there's all the audience in the church were all wearing bandages as well. This was like a more heavily bandaged, because at first I didn't even realize it was bandages. I saw a white mask essentially in the background. Because
I did too. At first glance, I thought it was one of the masks that the kids were wearing.
Yeah, because he's just sort of creeping out of the door frame just a little bit. It's a really nice little moment. But it's like a full head of bandages, almost like he's just completely wrapped his head up. And then of course he disappears, and she just sort of screams and sighs, and that's the end of the episode. And I think what really struck me about this episode, between this scene, which I enjoyed, and the scene with the kids, is that it's not very subtle. It's not a subtle show at all.
Yeah.
But I think I'm getting into it more as I go, purely because I'm sort of accepting kind of what it is. But what it is it's doing it quite well. Is that it's just pure pulp. It's horror movie pulp.
That's fair. I think this is my least favorite of the 3 episodes.
Okay.
I think I like Molly as a character well enough. I don't feel like I should be following her to that extent. I think the show for me was better and more interesting following Henry and that side of things and the prison and follow, with Molly kind of just being on the side. Um, I
Yeah,
think the focus didn't really work for me too much. There's nothing wrong with it, just it's not as good for me.
I feel like this is something you're probably going to have to accept because I get the impression
Yeah,
it's going to bounce around. I don't think it's going to always be. I mean, Henry might be the main one because we started with him, but I feel like we'll probably get an episode focused on Jackie. We'll probably get an episode focused on Palmbark or what was his name? Did I say that right?
Pangmon.
Pangborn. There you go. Pangborn.
Yeah. Could you
Probably,
tell I knew what you were on about there?
yeah. But you know what I mean? Like I feel like all these main characters will probably all get a focused episode.
No, I agree. I feel like the first two were so consistent in the way they split between we had some Molly on the side, we had Henry, we had the stuff at Shawshank, the stuff relating to the kid and the case in particular, the mystery.
Yeah.
I feel this one was obviously some of that stuff is still there. We'll speak about Henry going in to see the kid and stuff, but that felt like a detour away from the Molly stuff in this episode, and that is the stuff that I'm much more interested in watching in this
Actually,
show.
if I'm going to agree with a complaint, I will say that I did think it was weird that we did that this episode because, like you say, it felt like a detour from the focus that we'd had up until that point. Because the episode really made it feel like, no, this is Molly's episode. We're going to follow her. It's her thing. And then after the TV incident, it did kind of split up, and we got to just follow Henry go do his thing.
Yeah,
And it was like it was strange.
pacing was a little weird because of it.
There's not a super big deal, but it was something that definitely stuck out to me as I was watching it, just from a structure point of view. But yeah, no, I mean I had fun following Molly around. I feel like she's adding this extra layer to the Henry story I wasn't expecting. Again, me reading into like
Yeah.
what did she like feel that made her want to do this from Henry's perspective, and that's what I think is quite interesting.
Yeah, like I said, none of this stuff's bad. It's just not quite as interesting to watch to me as the stuff with the core mystery.
So yeah, but after this, the warden actually calls him. Warden Porter calls him and brings him in, and she puts on the big fake smile, and she's like, "Hey, remember that old commercial of the shampoo about first impressions? We get off on the wrong foot." And it's like, okay, you've been cut out, so you're groveling to save face, and she offers him
Every corporate apology ever.
pretty much, and she offers him this file. She's like, oh, $300,000 in damages, yes, and because it was like wrongful incarceration, and he's like, this is not wrongful incarceration, this is kidnapping. Because
Yeah.
and I'm glad he said that, because that was my thought, is that like had he been found in any other building, this would not be treated this way at all. But because it was a prison, they're treating him like he's a prisoner. And it's like, but no, he was a kidnap victim.
Yeah, he shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
It's simple.
And she does this odd justification. She's like, well, in my experience, regardless of how you end up here, no one here is innocent. He was kidnapped probably as a child.
Yeah, especially given the way he talks. It's these very childlike sense. He asks, "Yeah, how many years old are you?"
Now don't get me
Not
wrong.
how old are you?
Yeah. Now don't get me wrong. We know he's probably the Antichrist, right? But she
Yeah,
doesn't know that.
obviously. Yeah.
I'm just saying, she doesn't know that.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, he probably should be in there. He probably should have been left in the cage, don't get me wrong. But she can't be thinking that.
And again, we're speculating here. I mean, it could turn out he's actually a really nice young chap who's just been corrupted by.
I thought, when at the end of the phone call across the glass and the guards dragging him away, I was like, oh, they're touching him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. See if anything happens from that.
But were they touching him just where his shirt was? Was it just?
I don't know. They were dragging.
Yeah.
They had one arm each, didn't they?
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it was like above the sleeve, so it was fine.
Oh, maybe I wasn't looking that closely.
If that's what the rule is, but maybe he has to initiate it though. Like maybe like if he feels scared or if he feels threatened, he like turns it on.
I imagine him being dragged away makes him feel threatened.
Sure, we'll see. We'll see if the guards turn up dead.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, might be a nice little twist.
So my thinking here, actually, after this conversation, is that this kid and Henry were both involved in the same thing, in some capacity, as kids, because he asked him how old he was, and he says 39 years, but he also the question that really stuck out, because Henry just takes it as, oh, like, because he gives him this plan, oh, we'll do this and we'll walk out and then we'll, you know, seek, well, you know, civil rights case, and we'll you know, you'll own this town, and he's like, has it begun? That's all he said. Has it begun? And I'm like, what's it?
Yeah.
What's it? The apocalypse? What's happening?
Yeah.
So
it's creepy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's proper foreboding.
And I think that's, as much as this, it felt like, it felt like a detour. It highlighted to me how much more I'm into this side of things than I am Molly's plot. Like, in Molly's stuff, it's fine, but it got to this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I want from this episode.
I think what I liked about Molly's plot, especially in relation to Henry's plot and the mystery of a kid, I think it's adding a bit more of a personal side to it that was maybe not completely lacking, but it's just adding a bit more of an emotional interest, I think. So
it is, yeah.
So I think for me that it was working. I actually think these 3 episodes make a neat little trilogy actually to watch. To sort of like, here's what you can expect from the show as a whole, is you watch these 3 and you get like a taste of everything, a taste of all the different characters, the mystery, and you know, because I feel like you start the mystery with the what happened in the past, and I feel like seeing what Molly did and Molly's part of it, and this episode kind of feels kind of well rounded as a set of episodes before, you know, you have to wait another week for episode 4. Not in our case because we've spread them out.
In our case, another day. Yeah.
But you know, I think it's, and I don't know if they did that intentionally. I don't know if it's like, oh, we know the first 3 are going up, so we'll.
Do you know what? I think they might do, because this isn't the first time that this has happened with Hulu. I remember saying the same thing about the first season of Handmaid's Tale.
Or even Runaways, first 3 episodes.
Runaways, yeah. So I think they must know going in that, right now, you get 3 episodes on day 1. Plan for that.
Yeah, they make them like a little trilogy. It's almost like a triple pilot, and then week 2 from there. Yeah. It's interesting. No, I think it's a neat way to like solve that problem that we sometimes talk about, where pilots feel rushed because they feel like they have to set everything up in the first episode, whereas having 3 episodes to do it, obviously it makes it breathe a lot more, and they can take their time. So no, so that was a very interesting conversation, and yeah, so the questions he asks him about, you know, about the past, and yeah, he doesn't say a whole lot, but the 2 or 3 simple questions he asks are like, okay, he expects him to be like him, or to, you know, to. So clearly, I don't know if he like recognizes him specifically, but he expects him to be. He at least expects him to be like him because he was told to ask for him.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, we'll see how that goes. And what is it? Because obviously this kid doesn't know a whole lot, but he clearly wants to start something. So here's the thing. So we're thinking he's the Antichrist, and we're thinking Terry O'Quinn, Dale Lacey, he locked him up because God told him to, presumably to stop the Antichrist or whatever he is, right? But it was the warden who told him to seek out Henry. So I think at that point we have a sort of a crossroads here of, okay, maybe it wasn't to stop him, maybe it was to do something else.
I wonder if they're opposite forces. Like Henry's kind of like the good to his evil, to the kid's evil.
Maybe, yeah, and maybe it's like seek out Henry because Henry can fight you.
Yeah, because the kid won't know any better. It's like, hey, ask Henry, yeah, you know, and then Henry comes and it's like, okay, now he's got a challenger.
Yeah, because it wouldn't surprise, because everyone thinks he's obviously killed his dad. It wouldn't shock me if we find out that, like, and you know, when we finally see what really happened, that he, you know, Henry actually did really, you know, honourable or good, noble things. He. Like, yeah, you know, I don't know.
And I think something that we've maybe disregarded with in terms of Molly, you know, doing that at the start of the episode. You know, we're going, oh, you know, what was she feeling? All these things. You'll say, oh, you know, was she feeling Henry's, you know, fear or whatever? What if it was just Henry felt rage? Henry felt like he wanted to kill him, and she picked up on that specifically.
Oh yeah, but that's what I meant earlier on.
No, but rather than just feeling afraid and her making that choice.
Oh sure, yeah.
Stop it.
Okay,
literally, just she just was a stand-in for him.
I get what you mean. Like, more specifically, he just had that, and it's kind of like sometimes you have that feeling about someone where you kind of want to kill them, right? Maybe not to the,
of course, yeah.
Maybe not to the point where you actually are thinking about it, but maybe like but he's a kid, so everything's heightened. Like, I feel like as an adult, you don't think about it literally like that, but as a kid, I can buy that. Maybe if you think about it, like, you're really feeling it. Where And she picks up on that, and obviously he wasn't going to do anything, but she came and did it anyway.
But she thinks that it is, yeah, because it feels that real to her.
So she thinks he really wanted to do it, and it'll turn out that no, yeah, sure, I was angry at him, I maybe thought about it, but like that doesn't necessarily mean I was going to ever consider actually doing it.
Yeah,
like, you know,
exactly.
Moment of rage, it passes, and you know, life moves on. So. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, if he ever finds out she did this, and I assume she will.
Which you say if he definitely will by the end of the season, right?
Yeah, at some point. What is his reaction to that? I don't know. Like, does he?
Right now, I have to assume he'll be kind of horrified.
Oh sure, yeah, because A, it's murder. B, clearly doesn't like murder, regardless of personal feelings in the matter. And then C,
it's given him this reputation and is haunted his whole life.
There's a lot of reasons to be angry at her for this.
There is.
There's a lot of reasons actually when you really start to stack them up. Because it's not his fault she could sense what he was feeling. Like it's not that was an intrusion, and it's not really her fault that she felt it either. She's clearly not be able to control her power very well.
I mean, she still can't.
Yeah, she still can't. Yeah, so it's a messy situation, I guess, is what we're saying. But I really I want to emphasize once again how much I laughed at the warden just looking up at the TV and just hearing her secret that she's been trying to hide since episode 1 just blurted out on TV by some stranger she doesn't even know.
Yeah, no, that's pretty funny.
That was good. Like I say, I feel like it's not doing anything subtle or even like super smart. I don't think. Like I say, it's pure pulp. It's like
it is, yeah.
We're doing every pulpy horror idea, but it's having fun with it. I don't feel like it's taking itself like it's not like it's light-hearted, but it still doesn't feel like it's taking itself too seriously. It's like it knows it's a pulpy novel, which I guess makes sense with Stephen King because he's kind of the pulp king, I suppose, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's nailing that feeling means that it's doing something right. So I think I dug this one the most, not necessarily because it was the best of the 3, just because at this point I'm kind of getting into the groove of what the show is, and I'm like, okay, right, I don't have to expect more of it now. Like I'm having fun with the pulpiness, and if that's all it is, then that's great.
I agree. I'm on that same level. I know what I'm getting, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so there you go, that's episode 3 of Castle Rock. We'll be back hopefully tomorrow with episode 4 of Castle Rock, and then we'll be on schedule for week to week from there on out. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a bunch of bonuses over there. It's worth going over there even if you're not going to be a patron. You can just have a look at the main page. It has all the links to all the different shows we do, all the different audio feeds. It's very useful, very helpful, but that is it. So thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?